Well, in a previous lesson background, we learned how to add a background image or color in the box. In this lesson, we want to teach you how to make the head, which is the meaning of our website. This lesson is a little difficult, but once when you learn it, it will be easy to continue the whole lesson. Because most code you learn in this lesson will use it for the next lesson. Now, after we have add a width and the height in all folder, which is the width of 100% and the height is 100 VH, this is our real box. Now we want the folder that we made it to be header box. But before that, let me add a style to our text to be white. I add an HTML and to continue to our lesson. Let me add it. Okay. Now after that, first you see our to-div is not the same line. Now in order to put it on the line, first I call a folder and I use a display flex or a grid in a CSS. I don't need to use a span code because the CSS always has my back. No need to use HTML code. Just focus with me and I will explain. But before that, you may have a question: what is the difference between these two display? If you look here, you will see that each one of has a function or option. Other courses for display you have seen that it takes many hours to explain it. It takes a lot to understand the difference. In my opinion, both are the same. I will explain the reason in the lesson, but don't be too hard, guys. Maybe some of you think that the first one is better than the second one. I don't care much, but some people think that this flex is better or the grid is important for performance. Now it is or hard, it depends on you which you want to like or you want to use it. I just come to explain the lesson. It's up to you. Up to you which one you use it. In my opinion, a simple code that arranges boxes for CSS. This is a quick answer for the display. Just use the easiest code for your website. And of course, I have a trick. If you don't like a display code, or you forget sometime a display and don't know how to use it, in this lesson, I use a trick for the flex, so keep watching. Well, I call father's name in CSS. Father. Okay, with a dot. And now open a bracket. Now inside it, type a display flex. Display flex. And I started from a flex because it is simple, very simple. It's already in a line. Okay. Now when we put a flex, it has a option called justify content. In a justify content, it has a several options. Each of those allows it to do something for you. Div, let me show you first. First is flex start. Just like his name, your folder div will be in a start of the body. Flex end, which shows the same at the end. Just like the same name will be at the end of the body. We have a center, which is a simple. All the folder div are placed in the middle or the center. And now to be separate them, we put a space between to let it have a space. And we see that there is a space, and most of our work using space, so keep it to use it. Now remember, if there is no flex in a folder, our justify content will give an error, so be careful about that. And the last one is to keep all the divs in one line without moving up or down. We put a line item center always click this because the div may have a top or the bottom. Sometimes it have a top or a bottom. So we use line item center to be all the time we center, not the top or depth. Well, in display flex, you usually have other codes as well. You can use them. You can use them. For example, if you don't want to be in one line and we want to be a next div to be in the next line, we use a flex direction. So just type a flex direction and B column. Inside B column, okay. Now, if you forget the code or display, as I told you, I have a simple solution of my trick, which I call it Genius. And the Genius can memorize your brain. This code, when you use it too much, how to learn flex in this way, which so far no one has used it in a training, and I never see it anyone use it in their video. But let me do it. I think everyone forgets, so I say it. Doesn't matter to me. After all, in my courses, I will tell you all the solution. Well, let's say I forget the display. Now, what to do? This is a very easiest. Just go in Chrome. Now the click right. Okay. Now, and go to the inspect of the Chrome. Click on inspect, okay. And the wonderful thing that Chrome has, it's really amazing. It just like have a WordPress functionality, but in a simple way. This trick is just like using a WordPress tool, but not a professional. It's just like it's simple. Let me show it how. Now we go to the div that name of the folder, not all folder, div folder, and click on it. Okay, now here you can type a CSS for a div. You see it? This is a CSS. You can type a CSS for it. Now just type a display flex. Just type a display flex. No more code. Just type a display flex. Now here's a cool thing. Can you see that there is a square in front of the flex? Now click on it. Now you see this is option of the flex, benefit of the flex very easily. In 1 second, just choose and see which one you want. Oh, this, let be this, doesn't matter this or this. Well, I wanted there to be a space. I found it. Click on it, okay. And you will see the code is writing in a CSS. And it works. I think if you use this for 1 week, you don't need to go to Chrome because the code is already in your memory. Now know that if you write a code in a Chrome, when you refresh it, all the code that you write it in a Chrome will remove, and because it's not a VS Code or on any other program, it just like shows the style of the CSS. Now you must add it to the VS Code. Always do that. You must add it to the VS Code. Just copy and paste it. Just remember that I put it in a center. Should I put all of them in another line so it doesn't want? No, that's fine. I'm done. Okay. And thank you, Chrome. God bless you. Okay, this is a flex, but let me complete a menu head. I will also explain the grid in the next lesson. And there are 2 other display that I must mention because it use it in some cases. It is also simple for animation and JavaScript, but it remains a little complicated for later. We will see that it doesn't look good. To reduce the distance of a 2 div. Of course, if you can use a space eventually in adjustable content, but one day you might want to set a spacing yourself, like a custom for a space. Well, now margin and padding will come in handy. These 2 wonderful CSS things that always excited me. Now, what is a padding and what is a margin? Maybe Maybe after I explain it, you won't understand what the story of these two, or you make a mistake between these two, and don't worry again, because I have always tried to make it easy. There is a solution always that will save us again in a Chrome and again. Okay, but let me explain with the language code first. After that, I show you my trick. Now take a look at this. Now take a look at this box. First, I will start with the padding. Let me add through Chrome so that it's easy for you to understand it. I make a padding 100 pixel. If you look at this with the mouse, you will see something green inside of the box. It means that you have add padding for that box. It almost like adding a width and a height again, but it is a little different because this padding is a special box that you cannot style it. And if you add a padding to the right, it add the right like a width. It's kind of hard to understand, but it's cool because you can move the box whenever you want and add a width to it. Now, what is a margin? Let me add a margin 100 pixel. You see the color is orange. That means you use a margin. And unlike a padding, it doesn't add width or height. But for a move boxing is very useful. Some of you say that just use a padding to move it. Let me show you something that you must use the both. Of it. Let me take an example for example, this logo is I use a padding right to 200 pixel or left, it doesn't matter. It's gonna move it to the right, and if I use a margin right too, it will move the same move. I'm sorry, because of Flexbox you can't move the right. Instead I use a left. See, it moves, but what if our logo have a background? Let me add a background. Now you see padding of the right have add to the background too, and that means add the width. This is why margining came to help you in this case. We must use a margin and not a padding. The whole point in some cases use a padding if you want to move a div, but if a div have a background or something else, then use a margin to move it up or down. You only need to do it a few times and you will learn both of them. Easy, trust me guys. Now what do we use it for? First, with the padding. Padding is usually used to create a large box with a high height. It is also used to move a div and for link. Well, margin is usually used when we want to move a div up or down or space it. Now let's say here I want this div at the padding. I will type a padding and press enter. Now let me explain how to let me explain how to add a number inside it for the top, bottom, left or right. For example, if we say just a 10 pixel, this means the top and the left and the right and the bottom 10 pixel. And if we put a 4 number for the padding, the first one is used for the top, the second one is for the right, and the third one for the bottom, and the fourth one for the left. Now, if I write a 2 number, just a 2 number, not a 4 or a 1 4 number, just a 2 number, it's fine. The first one means up and down, and the second one left and right. Maybe one of these is confusing or you forget it. Now here come my trick and the solution to use it, and not the 4 number or the 2 number. Once you type padding, just at the top in front of it, which come from the name to the top, just like his name. Use it for the top. Let me add it, padding top. See, padding top, press enter. Now add it 10 pixel, just for the top. Now put padding for the right, padding right, press enter, add a number for the right. And the other two margin, use it too, like a margin top or the margin bottom or the margin left and right. You can use it. For example, just type a margin top and add the number and just for the top. Okay. This is the first solution, is simple. Now the second one is I always use it because it gives me a fantasy and a pleasure, and believe me, I don't think any teacher has ever said this, or in their video. I don't know why they never say it. It is very simple, guys. In your Chrome, just go in expect. Now put it just a 2 number or 4 number, doesn't matter, just put it number or 4 number. Let be a 0 in a padding, and now we increase it with a keyboard, or you can increase it with a mouse. It doesn't matter, just let me show you how to increase it. Well, I increase it, this means the top is increased. The second one, I increase it, and now it for the right, you see it, nice. I want to put a piece where I want. Maybe some of you also understand that this is the same function of the WordPress, that you take a box and let it go where you want, but it is Chrome, not a WordPress. That's why I love Chrome. Okay, let me finish the lesson so that I don't bore you anymore, and we can prepare for the next lesson. Now I make a 13 pixel for the top and the bottom, and make the left and right be a 10% of the 100%, just a 10%, no need for other thing, because the special box has its own width and height. Now why are the text moving away? Well, I said it increases the width, but always remember that padding doesn't involve with the HTML div. The green color means that it is on box that I add. If you want to understand the issue, then if you work on the margin or the padding with your own hand for the 2 days, your job will be easy. You don't need any other training, just try typing and see what it is padding and margin. And the small point that is left in the menu list that I have here, I think I should put a display and a space for it, but for a space I use a padding. I tell you why now. See what our point is. I can use a margin too to separate it, but padding is used more. And usually padding always come first for the link. I call the menu with the lists inside it. Now why don't I just call the menu? Because if you look at this, it's a full box. If I put padding, it will only be padded in the box, not inside it. And I want to left a space for the list. So how do I call it? I type dot menu li, which I say to CSS is a color menu, and his li inside him. Yeah, but the padding work another way. Now instead of the margin, just type a padding. It had the same, but when you see the padding you add, you can click on it. This is our ability of the padding. But the margin, if you add it, it not have this function. It cannot click it because the margin doesn't evolve with HTML. But the padding have the width and the height, which allow you to click the menu. It is used, but the margin doesn't have the same feature because it works outside of the boxing, not inside it. Padding is always used for the link or the menu to increase the width and the height. Remember this always. I think that website has the same problem. It added padding with a margin. Now let me explain why he used a margin too. Now if I put a heading without any margin here, you can see the click is too close to the second one. The second one may be clicked and not the first one. Because of this, I want to use a margin 2, and he use a margin 2, and he add the margin to let a space. There is a distance and it won't be clicked. And now let me add a margin. Okay, good. And oh, I forget to tell you how to remove a dot. Go to menu LI and add a text decoration. None. I think I must add it to menu. Let me add it to menu. Okay, got it and paste it. I think I had a mistake again. I'm sorry. I used the wrong code. We must add the list style type. List style type. None. And let me none. Okay, now list style type have a more than dot, and if you're interested to use it, you have a little option to use it. And I didn't show it because we don't have the time for that. We have to spend more time about this. Sorry about it, and now it's solved. Now let me explain what is a text decoration. But before that, we forget to add the link on every menu. Let me show you how to make how to make a link. Add the word A, and then write a home. Now the copy and paste it for the 3 times. Okay, paste it, and now we create a link. And href is the same as rc to say what is a document, and our link is not a good color, and our link now is not a good color. And text decoration to menu in menu li. Again error. Why? Let me add a color. Doesn't work again. I forget we add a code HTML. You must call it in HTML. You must call it in CSS, and now it works. So this how work for the link. Every time you create a link, HTML choose autocolor, and the autocolor underline. We must change it after that add the text decoration to remove the underline of A. And of course, if you want, you can add a text decoration with a more option, dot or more other thing. Now, you just made a menu. Now we reach the quiz, and then I see you in next lesson. Hope you love it, and bye.